Hello there, beautiful internet and you fantastic creatures of the beyond. Come back to the Underrail, where we are railing everywhere. So we have left over here. There is quite a bit to explore left. I'm not gonna touch the computer just yet, because we want to clear out the building, then we'll watch through the computer logs, which they're quite chunky, if I remember correctly. Oh look, we can open this, I think. Ventilation shaft. There might be some spideys left? No? Apparently not. What is in here? Who the hell knows? Apparently nothing. Gents. Oh, this was the bathroom. Well, I think we have solved everything on this part. If I remember correctly, there is a puzzle here somewhere. We'll get into that. But before we do that, let's check the other rooms. So right now we couldn't get into the submarine deck. We are in security and technology. Utility, we have been down there and activated everything. Let's go to robotics. The door won't move. Security camera, which is deactivated. Let's try to activate this. Hacking. Nah, disappointed. We are carrying quite a lot of stuff. I should unload. Maybe I should have unloaded before we started the session, but oh well. So we can go through the ventilation. I don't think you can get out through these ventilation sheets. They are blocked there. Plasma cell. Yeah, these things are just kind of like... We're just accumulating stuff. And it's stuff that it's not necessarily helpful on the long run. Medical cabinet. Yeah, sure, why not? So far, so good. Nothing attacked us. But I do have my reservations. Oh my gosh, there are quite a lot of them. Oh, what is this? Super Strongman toy. Stronger than your average strongman. Huh, that's interesting. And another intelligencer article. I think this is where they are recharging. Oh, that scientist. We did get that thing though, I forgot about it. Oh, this will sell nicely. Even this. What is it? Oh, game. React. Shield no, not this one. Silenced. Silenced. Sounds like a collectible to me. Okay, these are the bathrooms. Seems this one is only accessible via vents. Well, whatever. Some of this will never be able to get in. A painting. Nice. Through amateurish oil on canvas painting. Okay. Oh. A touchscreen mobile personal computer that can fold. Okay, so we can check this one later. Oh, thank you. We really needed that. Another technician. And another dead scientist. Broken high-tech watch. It's either not intended for human use or it's been hit with one EMP too many because the display just cycles through seemingly random gibberish. He scared the hell out of me. How about you? Sort of. No! Do not throw that at me. Jeez. You little bastard. Where is it? Where's my healing? Bastard. Okay, the technician. Security card. The integrated circuit card, the label is completely scratched. We're gonna use that device that we found. See what we can use it to find out later after we finish all of this. Electronic lock. Not responding. You know what? Oh no. Oh no. Shoot. Ow! Don't explode on me. Why am I missing so bad? You're wasting your energy, sir. I can notice that. I'm not a dartboard, sir. Yeah, well, that is debatable, I suppose. Just don't throw it on me. Oh no, that's gonna hurt us, isn't it? Can I maybe have another shot? Please? Let's go invisible. Did I check this technician? No. slowly get out of here. Did the other ones activate? No. So they activated because of the explosion. But yeah, I wouldn't want to fight everyone. That would be very painful. Wait, maybe I can open this. But I should definitely go down. Ah, shoot. I'm out of everything. Mm. Well, at least we can open stuff. Another dead man. And another dead scientist. We can take this. We don't need that. We don't need either of this. We can't open this. Ah, maybe this one. Yeah, sure, why not? So we'll go out. And let me go and deposit all of this stuff because it's already becoming heavy on us. So we have physics, biology, chemistry, geology, and administration. And then this is the top. Quite a bit of exploring to do, if you ask me. Zoom. Let's make sure that I'm not adding anything important. Well, we don't... I don't think we need this. Well, I'll keep it. I'll keep it just in case. This one could use some repairs. I would keep this one. I don't know why I picked that one up. Plasma grenade, we already know this, but we need to better I'm gonna put this there, because we're not gonna use it. 137. No, not now. Not now. Okay, what's going on? Has been kidnapped. They stormed through one of the evacuation tunnel and took the professor. Weren't the guards down there? They were. Listen, Chief Briggs wants you to meet him ASAP in the keep, right by the entrance to the evacuation tower. Over. Shoot. Well, we'll have to make our way there anyway then. And then we'll be back here and we'll continue our exploration. It's quite a lot to do. This is what I was a bit afraid of, because there are these situations where we have to go back and forth, but I'm kind of tied up here. ASAP. Fine. Got it, I'm headed there straight away. Out. Roger, out. Damn it. Well, let's just put our stuff inside then. And this one as well. Oh my god, I really love what I've collected here. Quite a lot of goodies. We are very overcumbered. But... actually, I'm gonna just take all of this and repair my stuff. Ooh, we've taken a bit of a beating here. A little beating. Let's collect two. This one needs a bit of a repair, so I'm just gonna take one of this. And 2 of this. And let's repair really quickly. Where is it? Wham. Wham. Did I not collect that one? Apparently not. Where is it? What? I did collect it. Oh no, I didn't. Now, depending on what you want to do, this is the turning point into the whole expeditions. So you can either continue with Aegis, or you will be offered an opportunity to join the pirates. But this is all up to you, so I'm gonna go maybe like this, bum 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 bum. I don't see another way. Or maybe there is a way like this. We are quite far. Well, let's just try it. Oh my gosh, we are so slow. Well, we are carrying like a ton of stuff. Oh shoot, I need to keep my distance from this. So it's gonna take forever. Oh, the ferryman is here. But can't stop and chat, man. Can we? Hey, hey, hey. Ah, he speaks through the smoke. I see you've started opening the lighthouse. It illuminates, captivating, ain't it? Very much so. So, what's inside? A lot of really interesting things, if you must know, things the world could benefit from. Really, like what? Technology, history, weapons, new animal species. Let's go with history. History, he chuckles. Do you think we would be here if people cared about history? They care only if it's aligned with their worldview, otherwise it gets tossed into the ocean like a torn rag or distorted to such extremes that it had better been tossed. And besides, even if they did care about it, most can't learn anything from it anyway. He stares into the sea, appearing as though he's looking straight through the surface. Descent. Maybe we should choose another one. Another option. A lot. Let's go about technology. Technology. He shakes his head. You think more technology is gonna help this world? Typical. Chuckles. Typical. Okay, he descends. Okie dokie. So he's not very happy with our answers, but well, we tried. Every time you mention the ruins, you stare silently into the water. What is that supposed to mean? You are thinking about something. Who do you think you are, kid? Just a man looking for the truth? Oh, you think so? You are lost. But in the grand scheme of things, so am I. You, me, the rest of the Underrail, the poor suckers who lived here. and whose skulls now serve as insect and fish homes and for coral to grow on. He takes a long draw and exhales the smoke to the left. He gazes at you while holding its pipe. Then he takes another draw, exhaling to the right this time. Well, perhaps I do that. Staring at the water thing, haven't noticed most of the subconscious. Yes, he noticed subconscious. Because it is down there, kid, the center. You stare at the surface of the sea, but only see your own reflection. You break the surface and see nothing but the unlit depths. The center, it's somewhere down there. Everything sinking towards it. Down, down. The Lemurians and how they called themselves. That's how they called themselves. They even built towards it. And they met their doom before us. Before, but only seemingly, we're all sinking together. Tell me more about these things, about Lemurians. You speak as though you know a lot about them. If you want specifics, I know little about these Lemurians, perhaps even less than you do. What I do know, though, is that they were people who attempted to ascend through technology, Biocorp 2, and many others, all doing essentially the same, but differently. They thought they could emulate or even return to the surface or beyond. Ah, he chuckles. Look what we became became of these endeavors. But it ain't the fate that awaits only this deluded and voracious, but us as well. Only we are lighter than thus sink more slowly, but we do sink. We do more. We do make our descent into the center one way or the other. One way or the other. You keep mentioning it, but what is this center? This descent into the center? You really want to know this? Yes. You think you can handle something which could change the whole perception of life, existence, reality itself? I can handle anything, old man. Bring it on. Well, see? He walks to the cabin, pouring the ash from his pipe into the sea along the way. The There he kneels effortlessly at his age beside the bed and grabs a small plastic box from underneath it. It is a simple dark brown box with a worn out label in it, another pipe superficially similar to the one he has been smoking up until now, but with a rougher texture and more prominent sign of age. Inside is also a nylon bag filled with what appears to be tobacco. After sprinkling the said tobacco into the pipe, dosing it carefully until satisfied, he uses a tamper, a pen-shaped tool with a wide flat head, to gently compress it. He then repeats the process 2 more times before putting the pipe tool away. He takes a draw, not yet lighting his pipe, and returns all of the items but the pipe back into the box, which he also returns to its original location. He walks back to you, stroking his yellowish mustache with his left hand, eyes glued to the rusty deck. The ferryman then pulls out a lighter. Descend it to the center, you say, he says, and lights the pipe, puffing a few times until it's properly lit. Then he takes a long first draw and expels a thick cloud of smoke that has a unique, full-bodied, musty smell evocative of memories of an unexperienced past. Takes a moment to relax, to stare at the relatively calm sea, then he looks you dead straight in the eye. We can begin, kid. What I'm about to tell you are my own thoughts, observations, my own philosophy, which I base on years and years of study and experience. He puffs some more smoke. I looked within myself at the surrounding world, its history and culture, and lack thereof. I've read the old books and books older still, and I studied and compared their contents in attempt to extrapolate the ultimate truth. This is what I inferred. this reality of ours stretches in a certain direction, drawn by something I refer to as the spirit of gravity. This direction leads to true death. So you're talking about the eventual end of humanity, its descent into the center? Do you mean to say that our collective path as a civilization leads to an inevitable doom? Let's go with the second option. In a sense, yes. And not only the paths of civilizations, mind you, but the individuals as well, them as well. However, allow me to explain further. You see, at the very top, way up there, that's where the origin is. It is the highest point of existence, free from all hardship, complete weightlessness. And there's the center, where true death awaits. The spirit of gravity I mentioned, it's the call of true death. Everything that exists, you, me, communities, entities, civilization, heed this call. Everything that lives must grow old and heavy and eventually die. You seem to imply that physical weight has a great role in the descent. We start weightless, and as we accumulate weight, we fall to the center over time. So we start at the origin and are being pulled down over time by the spirit of gravity towards the center. So you represent the passage of time spatially, a vertical decline, am I right? This is a bit tough. Which one should we choose? We start at the origin and begin to be pulled down by the spirit of gravity towards the center. Let's go with this one. In principle, yes, it is true. There is much more to it though. But before that, I need to address you over time, for the passage of time is but an illusion. Ooh, I like where this is going. It is simply a way which we perceive this directional nature of reality. Its physical manifestation is the tendency of humanity to dwell in ever great and darker depths of the earth. The humanity that was closer to the origin dwelled among the stars. Oh, you understand? I think so. It's like space and time combined, space-time, but represented through a single dimension. If I understand correctly, the spirit of gravity is pulling us towards the center no matter what. And what we see as passage of time is fundamentally a passage of our descent. Time is place. This point in time we're currently in is physically a point of our decline, am I right? There is a correlation between our location in physical world and our, for lack of better term, metaphysical distance from the center, this true death, and time does not pass separately from this descent. That kind of sounds good. Pretty much, but time, it ain't something that follows the descent, but rather a term we invented to describe a certain phenomenon we experience. In actuality, there is no time, for time is place. But still, very good. You seem to be understanding things. Since you don't appear to be having problems comprehending what I'm trying to communicate, I think I could safely proceed and say a word or two about true death. Go for it. True death, he takes a draw. True death is ultimate death, the permanent death. It is one that makes the end of both our material and our immaterial existence, I presume. Within death is an illusion, meaning that we come back to life if we do not die a true death? Let's go with the first one. He nods. It ain't something I can confirm though strictly empirical means. But everything I've learned so far led me to believe that it is true. Cause you see, false death does not release one from the descent. One will just be reborn again when where he left off. Or even lower, suicide will not only not help you, it will instead confuse you and further remove you from the origin. This is very deep philosophical stuff and psychological at the same time. You understood the essence. The immaterial part of us remains even though our corporeal mechanism ceases to function. And that allows us to return and continue with our descent through death is the literal death, material and immaterial. But he's not talking about consciousness here, he's talking about the essence of what you are. So, sure, you depart from your body because this world shows that psi abilities can detach you from your body, but when you die, your whole essence, regardless of memory and character and whatever, is so torn apart that you are being pulled into the center, from what I understand. And it is not desirable outcome. That is what I've inferred. He puffs some smoke. So, what is true? Literal death, actually? If every death is a false death and we will always be reborn, how do we know if we've died before? Tell me about the false death again. So let's go with the first one. Death is cessation of action. False death only a physical, and only until you are reborn, while a true death is of all action and of all your whole essence. False death is not death at all, but mostly will know no better. True death doesn't sound like such a bad thing then. You simply cease to be. I can imagine worse. And in origin, I get to exist or exist on, right? I don't think the idea in my existing ending is nothing all that appealing. True death doesn't sound like such a bad thing then. You don't cease to be, your action does. And whatever direction you take, it must and it will. This kind of feels like fate is already set in stone. The only question is in which manner, by returning to the origin or by dying a true death. In true death, your action will be accentuated to an unbearable vibration and in that manner transform. And in origin, he takes a long draw and exhales slowly. We'll get to origin. And what are these unbearable vibration? What happens after that? All books, they all describe it differently. He slowly puffs smoke. Some focus on its material aspects, other on its immaterial one. But what they all agree upon is that it concerns the entirety of you, your whole existence, your body, and your essence. They also agree that true death, no matter which form it has been explained, though, it's unbearable. Seems like a lot of people of the world saw the same thing, though through different lenses. The record hardly agree. How can you be so sure that what you concluded is the truth? if enough people say it, certain things you can say in my language, they'll sound different, but the essence will be the same. I don't deny that we should look beyond the reality, but what if these people saw something they wanted to see and not something that truly is? That is also an interesting aspect. Let's go with the first option. Reality is deceptive, more so due to our imperfections and the imperfections of our senses. Thus, none of the old books are without false observations and deductions. But once you look at all of them, the falsities, vain, and the intersections of human thought can help us glimpse into the fundamental qualities of reality, for even humanity recognizes its own essence to some degree, but it often ignores it. He puffs smoke. Believe what I say, or don't. Fine with me. I'm just trying to give you a truthful description of something I deem to be of supreme importance. But know this, you cannot strive if there is nothing to strive for. Otherwise, you're just stumbling pointlessly through the darkness of existence. If every death is a false death, and we will always be reborn, how do we know if we died before? He takes a moment to think about it, puffing while he's doing this. We can't know. We can't because it won't be necessary to look at ourselves from a perspective that would allow us to obtain the means to justify our belief that we have experienced false death. And that perspective we cannot assume. I don't think so. So basically, it's kind of reincarnating ourselves through Buddhism in a way or another. But he talks about our recycling of our essence of who we are, of our life, basically. But then there is, so while we are in the origin, and once we depart origin, we go through this experience of multiple deaths, we reach the absolute death, the true death. It's quite a deep philosophical thing. I don't know if I died a false death before. And ultimately, it ain't important, for when it comes to looking at the whole, there is no such boundary there at all, since it's a false death and hence not a death at all. And it did not happen before, nor is it about to happen, as time is just an illusion. If there is no way to know if someone died a false death, then how do you know? How do you know it exists? You're right, it is not important, all things considering. Can you not feel it somehow? You have to feel it to believe it. I have this strange feeling that I keep dying and returning to life. Well, yeah, because we're reloading the game. That is, it's as though these deaths keep setting me back, yet I don't actually remember anything otherwise possess any evidence. So this is kind of the game acknowledging that it is a game. So in between, it's kind of making a mockery while trying to mix a bit of philosophical science in there. Well, philosophical science thinking, because these are all hypotheses, not real, not scientific theories. You're right, it's not important, all things considering. The most important thing is that we recognize its existence. Its existence, he puffs smoke, that is the first step. False death is something beyond our senses, for it destroys them. That is one of its consequences, and that is why it fools us. As with many other things, we cannot rely on empiricism alone to give us answers. We can, however, acquire the knowledge of its existence. Are you implying that only one who have these answers are higher beings? Empiricism alone, perhaps, but replying only one thing, just making sense, is a slippery slope, as people can find sense in anything and thus start believing in it and putting it forth as knowledge. We can make sense of things even if we haven't experienced them. Moreover, constantly rely on presuppositions and things we've been taught. Let's go with the first one. Are you implying that only ones who have these answers are higher beings? He pauses. This is an important question, as those atop a cliff can see more than those gazing up at it from below. And by the virtue of being higher in a more profound true sense, the higher ones have insight into the things this imperfect humanity does not and perhaps cannot. The most relevant of the old books claimed to have received knowledge from higher celestial sources, whatever form they were believed to have had. This knowledge was claimed to have been inaccessible by humanity in any other way beyond these revelations, kid. But of course, some men only claimed so. The true answer lies in wisdom, for it encompasses these crucial things: experience, knowledge, and the capacity to understand and reconcile this former two in order to form new knowledge. From wisdom also inevitably emerges humility, which evicts the childish arrogance and turns the mind into a fertile soil for understanding things supreme, basically becoming wiser and more humble. For knowledge is a simple term, a justified true belief, or in other words, is enlightenment. Falsities can be believed but not known, as they are definition by definition false. Thus, knowledge requires truth. Truth that is not believed also cannot be known. For how can you claim to know if you yourself do not believe? Thus, knowledge requires belief. But belief is something, even if true, is not knowledge, for without justification it might be a guess, blind luck, and that is not knowledge. Thus, knowledge requires justification. So it's a kind of well, yeah, this is a bit of going around the circle, but in a way it is true. But mm, 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 mm. We shall see. Where does justification come from, you ask? He chuckles. That is something we can debate till our descent into the center, kid. But I can tell you where it doesn't come from, and that is from profane quantification, the reduction to the confines of what is available to the senses. Let's return to this later. I'd like to move on to a different concept now. Fine. Geez, this is quite a long. Let's go to the origin. Origin, the highest point of existence, free of all hardship, complete weightlessness. Tell me more about the origin. I have observed the decline of humanity. It's slow but steady descent. If we've sunk from the surface to the underground, then what higher position did we occupy before that? I kept asking myself that question repeatedly for years, looking for records from before the surface. What did you discover? I read about celestial space above the surface, from which those who came before us fell from higher place and a higher state. They became heavier, and they fell down. So basically, it might be implied that humanity has has expanded into the outer space. But perhaps that empire wasn't that very stable, and thus has returned to the surface and now has gone underground because of setbacks. I'm paraphrasing, I'm not sure. He puffs. Do not even But not even the celestial space from which they fell is the origin. It is far too close to the surface. Too close. Origin is higher above, among the stars. It is where one can achieve complete weightlessness. Origin is complete weightlessness. So this weight, it is only physical, is it? It must be some kind of burden we carry within ourselves. It's both, he nods. It is both. The weight which we carry on our backs and the one we carry within. This burden, it makes us sink to the center. In fact, our very existence is like constantly a sinking ship from the origin to the center. All of us share the ride, but the ship is tilted forward. He takes a draw, tilted, with some of us being on its higher end, the stern, some on the lower bow, close to the center, and the rest somewhere in between. So even though a person is relatively light, the heavier people will still weight down the ship and make us all sink faster. So in other words, he's referring to the fact that we are kind of linked together, in a sense that we can't individually ascend. We have to globally ascend or to collectively ascend. If we sink, or the majority tries to sink, then we all go together that way. So it's our collective energy, in a sense. Are you trying to say we share our burden somehow? Kind of like that. Okay, let's go with the first one. In a way, but I'd rather phrase it like we share our burden, because what weights down the ship is our combined weight. We may have our own burden, but we can help ourselves by helping others with theirs. That is the key, you understand, kid? But what happens if we are light enough? Can we stop sinking? Ah. If we are lighter than existence, we ascend. Now, this is a very heavy topic, what he's describing, but if you manage to go past the passages, there is quite a lot of important meaning in this game, because this game tells of some very concrete truths about how science and existence work, but in such an artistical way that it kind of wraps your mind around. But if you pay attention, it can be very interesting. The spirit of gravity, through death's call. Everything that exists heeds to this call. Everything that lives must grow old and heavy and eventually die. You mentioned that you invented the term spirit of gravity. How did it originate? The term was inspired in large part by certain old books. The scientific term gravity is familiar to you, a force by which objects with mass attract one another. By spirit, this is something entirely different. Essence, driving force, a proxy of some great divine will, a powerful immaterial force. Let's go with essence. Well, let's keep listening. To me, spirit is an immaterial property that brings something to life. It's like a spark, yes. Yes, a spark that ignites fuel in an internal combustion engine of a ship like mine. Yes, let's take a ship as an example. You have the hull, the engine, all the internal components. You can add fuel and oil and everything else you need. You can have all the elements in their place, but the ship will be nothing but the inert piece of metal floating on the water for that ship to move and be. It needs something to breathe life into it, a spark. Only the spirit, as something as a higher order, does not cease to be after giving life, but persists and further drives its certain existence through action. I see now, basically an immaterial force which gives life to something and makes it move. Let's keep listening because it's quite interesting. Therefore, the spirit of gravity is something that is immaterial in essence, but has a physical manifestation of a drone, of a downward pulling force like gravity. Hmm. So I think I've discussed this in one of my, well, out of the game ramblings, where I was talking about. I can't remember the name of the doctor. Well, he's a doctor in quotes. I'm not sure exactly, but he's a scientist anyway. So he was discussing the fact that um, there is this sort of energy around the Earth that we cannot detect with our instruments, but it's sort of like a consciousness, and it's a collective consciousness. And when I say consciousness, I don't mean something that collects information or what should I say? It's not a consciousness that comes with memories. It's a kind of a consciousness that we borrow when we are born, and once we die, this consciousness returns back to this ether in quotes, basically the energy that it's like sort of a magnetosphere of the earth. So the more the population kind of, when it grows, it just recycles this energy, and the more the population grows, the stronger this energy becomes around the globe. And it's kind of this essence that exists there, and we can grow and empower, and that is what creates this false death, because we recycle it. Of course, I'm not talking this as to be taken as concrete science, but it is quite an interesting journey to follow. While true death, though we cannot understand what true death is, we don't really understand what death is at the moment. We know the cease of the existence of a life as we are in our current bodies. But we do not understand what happens after it. We know that the brain consists of the information that we accumulate, and without a brain, we would cease to exist. But the body can continue to exist in the absence of a brain if it is sustained artificially. But then we are not the body in that case, because we reside in the brain. So it is quite a complex topic. Okay, the center. It is too complex for you to understand right now. I don't think you fully grasp some of the more basic concepts yet. Okay, passage of time then. Passage of time is but an illusion, a way in which we perceive the directional nature of reality. This is also interesting, um, because space time, as Einstein has determined to call it, is basically us perceiving time as frame by frame. Like while we're watching a movie, we're watching frames on a monitor that roll very fast, and the same happens with our life. We're going through each moment frame by frame. but it's not directional. All these frames exist all at the same time, but it's our perception that see it directional, and it's our perception of how we experience these frames from our personal experience, obviously. But in the way Einstein describes it is that everything that exists already exists out there. We're just going through all of it step by step. Although it's probably our brains that have this well, let's call it a limitation to not experience everything at the same time. So again, it's quite interesting. True death. True death is the ultimate death, the permanent death. I've been thinking, can you help someone with their burden by killing them? Strictly hypothetical. He pauses, frowning. Killing? What do you mean exactly? I've told you that false death, removes you even further from the origin. Yes, but what if someone has a burden which will keep dragging him down until his physical death? Shouldn't that help him? False death is only the flesh. You seem to be disregarding the essence. What is not confined to the body, what defines us no matter what form of shape we take or end up with, he puffs. You told me burden comes from many sources. Well, maybe burden from certain sources requires certain methods. That I did say, but who can make the right call? Can I? Can you? Things are often different than they seem, and death, even if false, is not to be taken lightly. Ultimately, I don't have the definitive answer to this question. What I can tell you, though, is that I have killed many people for reasons which might seem justified or not, and by doing so, even if I have, let's assume, helped some of them somehow, I've only burdened myself further. That I'm sure of. So this is kind of that shared responsibility. Basically, the actions that we take in life can make our life, well, depending if they're constructive or destructive, let's say. The more constructive ones we have, the lighter and less responsible we feel in life, in a way, or rewarded we feel in a way. The more destructive we do these actions, the more burdened we feel. At least this is how I see it from this conversation. I often feel great remorse for the lives I've taken. You feel the burden. Let's discuss something else. The burden. The weight which we carry on our backs and the ones we carry within. This burden, it makes us sink to the center. Those that are closer to the center than us, yes, he takes a draw. Are the faceless one of them? He puffs the smoke and nods. Good, good. How did you know? Their advanced technology means great burden. That is one of the reasons, I agree. Their reliance on technology, the physical space they occupy, the physical form they bear, their past, all these things add to their burden. What do you know about their past? Concretely, very little. For few, how much about the feared tunnelers, but for what I do know, I can abstract and compare, and resemblance materialize. The factors I mention, they share them with many others. Yes, they are further down than most of us, but I think they're starting to realize. Are the others like them? Yes, a man partakes in reality, and it draws down by the spirit of gravity. He descends towards even lower levels along with. But sometimes, also as a vanguard of humanity, sometimes whole groups can be this vanguard. And they are the vanguard in the sense that they serve as an example of decline. Exactly. Do they even know they are worse off? If we descend to their physical level, do we risk staying there with them, becoming part of the vanguard ourselves? Possibly. You cannot help those who won't help themselves. Helping them means carrying their burden yourself, with their accumulated more of their own. Yet those who wanna help themselves might drag you down in doing so, like drowning men pulling both his rescue and himself to a watery grave. And then there are the sinner ones, the wicked. So basically, what he's trying to describe here is that you cannot help somebody against their will if they don't want to be helped, because that's in a way toxic. Then, if you're trying to save everyone and neglect yourself, you're always going to drown with them. Then there are people who want to drown others with them, but if you find people that ask for help and you are willing to offer that help, or at the very least point them in the right direction, then the burden becomes easier for both of you, or for the collective. The weight of the man comes from many sources. Many sources, some we know intrinsically, but the rest can only be seen through the burden of others. He takes a draw. But as I've said before, helping others with their burden will also help you. But it can also burden you further. You simply need to be wise. So basically, balance. You have to understand how much you want to offer help. You can't offer help like a desperate person. You have to understand that you have to also protect yourself. So, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Geez, there is a word but I can't remember right now. Okay, yeah, do everything in moderation. That's the word I'm looking. For negative examples, there must be always be positive ones. I believe we can learn just as much, if not more, from those who are above us than those below us, the vanguard. You are right, kid. But the thing is, some lessons can only be learned from the mistakes of others, whereas we can draw wrong conclusions from looking up. Humanity of the higher state always looked up, always. Yet they sunk into a place where looking up means looking at the ceiling. Perhaps not by looking down, they never noticed themselves sinking. Oh, that's also interesting. It's like you neglect your your flaws, thinking that you can outrun them, but you cannot outrun yourself. So if you're just looking towards a purpose but not focusing on solving the issues that already exist within you and around you, you will never reach that, and it will just drown you lower. Of course, this goes more than just this aspect, but still, he excels a thick cloud of smoke and looks up. I have no further comments. Do you consider money to be a burden? Uh, is money a burden? For individual, it depends. For humanity, indubitably, he pulls a coin out of his pocket and sets it on his hand. It got physical weight, be it a coin or a plastic card. It's got weight. But this weight, the physical quantitative property, pales in comparison to the true weight that money can have. He puts the coin over his eye like an oblique monocle. Uh, it is a lens through which humanity has quantificated the value of everything, as everything can be expressed through it. Everything has a price. For the to quantificate means to reduce to discrete magnitudes, and to reduce means to remove the qualities deemed unimportant. As humanity higher values eroded, so did they become quantificated to this most profane material form. In fact, kid, this very burden is a large part of the erosion, the corruption. I suspect you use money because you have to. I only use it when I got, because I got, and the amount I got, everything beyond that is a burden. Would you abolish it given the chance? Whether I want to or not is irrelevant, as the question of whether I could or I couldn't. It is a sad part of humanity's imperfection. If money did not exist, it would be necessary to invent it. That is actually, in a way, correct. Because it does make life a commodity to have money to exchange for goods. Whereas exchanging goods for goods, like in the past, complicates things. And it does limit in the sense that, in a way, it is good, but it means you have to sacrifice a lot if you don't use money, because the money is a medium for which you exchange goods, and it's like basically when you're giving money, you're saying like you can use this money to buy other things and so on. So it's an object that you cannot, it's not a tangible object that you can use for yourself, like eat or whatever. You have to give it away as you take it, so you constantly roll it. Whereas a good, you can consume it. So for example, if you live in a country where only you grow bananas, you can't export it very far, because you have to exchange it for goods that are in your country, and you have to also eat bananas. So you produce locally rather than globally at that point. Where if you would have money, it would cover all of your needs, so you wouldn't need to rely on that. It is a bit complex, but then again, you make the sacrifices, but not by not having access to everything, by only simply localizing things, which in a way it's not bad. But for humanity to advance, it does need globalization. So the question is, how do we balance this? How much do we go on the globalization side versus localizing it, the markets and so on? It's quite a complex problem. Unfortunately, we went very far on the monetization side, and we rely only on money instead of thinking that maybe we can mix a little bit of the past with the present to make a better future. But then again, we shall see. Although there is still a chance that things can get better. Who knows? I think money is pure evil. Having more than I need is just wrong, and I just get rid of it as soon as possible. I work hard and I get paid. The money represents my blood and my sweat, and for that I think I deserve something. Money is something that simply exists, a part of the world. I don't think it's either good or bad, but depends on how we use it. It can become either. That is also very true. But unfortunately, it's very easy to fall into the desire to want more and to use money But it also depends on your perspective. If you can truly see the money for what it is, just basically a plastic object or a metal object that you take and give, and you just roll, and you realize, hey, I'm not. If I just gather it, I'm not becoming rich. I'm just sitting on money. It's just like taking a bunch of rocks and putting it in your house, and you're sitting with them in your house and looking at them. It's not gonna make you any richer. It's just gonna make you, hungrier unless you give it away and get the food. So yeah, it's quite a complex topic. Good or bad, we can't live without it. Money gets a lot of things, old man. You'd be happier too if you were wealthy. Not true. Wealth is a burden, a very big burden. Let's go with free. Individuals may have this wisdom, they may, but humanity as a whole does not, that is true. He puffs some smoke. Tell me of the seeking sheep. Okay. Let's return to the latter. So he's talked about burden. Let's go about ascension. If we are lighter than existence, we ascend. When you say lighter than existence, what do you mean by that exactly? To be lighter than existence is something that is not easily explained. For those who truly know, it cannot speak. I will say this though, whatever makes you heavy physically as well as mentally, let it go. The simple first step you can take is to help others with their burden, for this will unburden you. In another way, we can think about it like this: we come in this life with nothing, we will leave with nothing. We can't take anything with us, basically. No matter how much money we made, even if we reincarnate, we won't come as the same person in the same life, obviously, so we can't take advantage of that. We won't even have the knowledge of that. So the moment you understand that you shouldn't be possessive and you shouldn't be attached and you shouldn't be identifying with these things, immaterial things around you, then it becomes easier to let them go. Because as I said many times in my past, if you have an object that you truly care for and that object breaks and you identify with the object, what breaks, the object or you? And most likely the correct answer is you breaking, because you cared too much for that object and you were too invested into it. But once you let it go and realize it's just an object and it can be replaced, because all material things can be replaced, then it becomes easier to move forward. I don't see you doing a lot of helping others with their burden, so it's basically help others to help yourself. So we share our burden, like this ship metaphor. Let's go with the second one. Not all help unburdens, and sometimes it even burdens you and or others further. Be careful when reducing a truth to something you find easier to comprehend, for you might lose crucial details. He puffs smokes. Burden is the key. So basically, again, moderation, but take your time, don't rush when you're helping someone, analyze, be thoughtful, and so on and so forth. What happens when we ascend? What happens when we ascend to the origin, you ask? Nothing happens, for that presumes passage of time. All happening, all actions, all temporal movements is a struggle and always draws towards the opposite pole. The true death, what origin is, though, is a state of complete weightlessness and absence of any struggle. Basically, he's talking about literal enlightenment. True death means that you are at peace with everything and you have detached from everything in a way, and you feel unburdened, but at the same time you made all the necessary efforts to unburden others as well. Because you don't ascend only by yourself, you ascend with the help of those around you, in a way. So creating a positive environment also sends you in a positive way, if you want to call it that. Do you understand? The only way in which we can transcend the spirit of gravity, and we can indeed only transcend it, for we cannot resist it. It is to turn our thoughts and our actions towards the origin. The origin, we must rid ourselves of all the things that make us heavy, the burden that burdens us, not only so that the spirit of gravity will stop affecting us, but so that we may be lighter than existence itself and floating upwards to its origin. So, in other words, he's kind of saying that it becomes effortlessly to become weightless. We don't put effort, clearly. And then without effort, there is no burden. Without burden, we ascend. I know it's a bit metaphorical, but from a consciousness point of view, you become unburdened the moment you feel at peace with yourself, and by knowing yourself. And knowing yourself is an endless journey in a way, but the more you know yourself and the more you change from within and make those changes come towards, radiate towards your environment outside of you, that is how the burden gets detached from you, and you don't associate with the burden anymore, and you become lighter. This is the philosophical talk he's talking about. He takes a draw. We can make a pause here. I want to keep going. Very well. About the center now. No, it's still too complicated. Well, I think we'll need to talk about it another time, but we'll keep talking. I need a break. He nods. You know, I haven't discussed the descent into the center with anyone since Hank Wardle, was it? Yes, Wardle. I should remember this name. Okay, tell me more about Hank Wardle. Hank was an older gentleman, not as old as myself, but most certainly a man who has spent his years acquiring knowledge and building up great wisdom. This made him catch up on even surpass me in this regard. He strove for the optimum, and that is the aspect of him I admire and found fascinating the most. The way he thought of the way he thought of and did things. He pauses. Due to the circumstances he was in at the time, I can't tell you a whole lot about him. I'm obligated. I'm obliged to this. Ah, damn it. This text is a bit difficult to learn. I'm obliged to discretion, you see. Even mentioning his name was perhaps a bit an oversight on my part, but that doesn't matter anymore, no. He puffs, smokes, and stares into the distance. Still, him and we had a great debate regarding the descent into the center. Agreements on certain topics solidified our beliefs, while disagreements forced us to think hard in order to refute each other's arguments, and arguments were indeed strong. Some I haven't been able to refute to this day. To this day. He may have been the best conversational partner I ever had. I often wonder how my arguments are holding up after these few years since our encounter. He exhales a column of smoke and lets his mind wander off. Some kind of two-way radio. Can I ask you a few personal questions? Very well, ask away. What is your real name? George Harris. But I don't know why. I don't go by that name anymore. A name is not something used merely to identify you, but rather define you. It's something you should live up to. And my former name is unbefitting for of the life I currently live, and I have lived for many years. Now I am just a ferryman. Ferryman, he nods and puffs. Why are you here? I'm searching for what? I think you understand by now, kid. He's searching for the center. What can you tell me about your boat? This boat older than I am. In fact, it is so old. It's been modified so many times. One can hardly think of it as being the same boat. Yet somehow, in essence, it's still it's still the same one. It had, for instance, an internal combustion engine, diesel powered, before it was converted to electrical. 2,500 kilowatts of power, like that of a tugboat. It's got its share of problems due to its age. He looks at the crane, but the crane, it never failed me, no matter the depth, no matter the weight. It retrieved. He takes a draw from the pipe, holding it with his right hand before unleashing a curtain of smoke. It retrieves. What can you tell me about your boat? Oh no, sorry. How old are you? 70. Exactly 70 years old. Do you have anyone, family, friends, or are you completely alone here? Family, no. Friends, I have people I cooperate with, muties, pirates, and even the Stormy Baron. People know me and I know them, and with most I am on very good terms. But friends, in a traditional sense, no. The closer, the closest would be perhaps the people like you with whom I can discuss and these fundamental questions of reality, perhaps, but still, puff some more. Uh, how come everyone leaves you alone, especially the natives? They don't seem to like anyone. I cooperate with everyone, sometimes even with the Sorby Baron. I've been around for a long time, kid. Long time. I know them well enough. And I know what I need to know to be left alone. True. Do you have any spare tobacco? Tobacco is hard to come by down here in the south. Much too few hypodronic farms down here. In the few sources I have are irregular, to say the least. I've got nothing to spare, kid. He pauses, glancing at the sea before looking back at you. The only merchant of the grim jetters has a cigar or two occasionally, but I'm pretty sure he keeps those for special customers only. Aha, those are the pirates, the grim jetters. He blows some smoke upwards and takes a deep, calm breath. Uh, what do you do with the most interesting things you find, like artifacts, various other oddities? Are you willing to trade them? I do find things of great value that is inexpensible, though mere coinage, mere quantity. But ultimately, I do not collect them, and I pass them on. He puffs some smoke. There is no other way but to pass them on, kid. I do, however, make sure to give them to someone who will be enriched by it, even just a little. Enrich is the real sense of the word. He ponders for a moment. Very well, I will show you some of the things I found at the price I asked for them. Does not reflect their qualitative value, mind you, for that would be pointless. No, I'm merely covering my expenses. And look at these beautiful oddities. A metal pendant in the shape of an anchor featuring a human skull and bones in the middle. Feels way too heavy for its small size. And then we have a glass float, a small sphere of colored glass tied with a rope. Anything else? Double barrel shotgun. Yeah, we're not interested in that. It's kind of expensive. Let's buy this. Well, I think we have spent quite a lot of... Oh, I already consumed them. Yeah, we spent quite a lot of time on this episode. So I'm gonna do a hardcore save. And in the next episode, we're going to the shore to do that. I had other plans, but it seems this game always throws something at you and you're unprepared and the plans go sideways and you have to adapt. It's quite amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed this deep philosophical talk with the ferryman. He's quite an interesting character. Maybe we will even talk more later on and discover even further curious stuff about reality and Lemuria and whatever else he can offer. You guys stay awesome. Catch you next time. Bye 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 bye.